Some people are not stuck because life is against them. They're stuck because life keeps offering them the easy option, and they keep taking it. Easy looks harmless at first. Easy feels soft. Easy feels safe. Easy says rest now, try later, scroll a little longer, eat the comfort, avoid the risk, protect the ego, stay where it feels familiar. Easy never sounds dangerous when it first speaks. It sounds reasonable. It sounds practical. It sounds like peace. But if you listen long enough, easy becomes the reason your life stays small. Easy steals your edge. Easy weakens your hunger. Easy turns promise into delay. And delay, if you let it live too long, becomes a habit. That is why this message matters. Not because hard things are glamorous. Not because pain is useful by itself. But because the easy life can quietly destroy the future you keep saying you want. There is a huge difference between rest and surrender. There is a huge difference between smart comfort and soft living. There is a huge difference between peace and avoidance. One helps you recover so you can move again. The other keeps you from moving at all. Too many people confuse comfort with happiness. They think if something feels easy, it must be right. They think if something reduces stress today, it must be helping them. But many of the things that feel easy now will cost you deeply later. Every avoidance grows a little stronger. Every excuse becomes a little more convincing. Every day you choose comfort over discipline, your future loses a little ground. That is how people wake up years later and wonder where the time went. You do not need another life that is smooth. You need a life that is strong. Strong enough to carry pressure. Strong enough to survive disappointment. Strong enough to hold success when it comes. Because not everyone can handle the life they say they want. A person who cannot handle effort will not handle victory for long. A person who cannot handle discomfort will not build anything lasting. A person who cannot face hard truths will keep repeating the same weak patterns. That is why the easy life is so dangerous. It is not just waste time. It changes who you become while time is passing. It teaches your mind to look for escape instead of growth. It teaches your body to choose laziness when effort is needed. It teaches your heart to run from challenge when challenge is exactly what would make you stronger. And if you have felt that pattern in your own life, do not shame yourself. Shame will not save you. Truth will. The truth is that comfort can become a cage. The truth is that discipline can become freedom. The truth is that the hard path often gives you the life that the easy path keeps denying you. There is a reason some people rise while others remain frustrated. It is not luck. It is not always talent. It is not always connections. Often it is willingness. Willingness to be uncomfortable. Willingness to keep learning. Willingness to be bad at something before getting good. Willingness to look foolish in the beginning. Willingness to stay in the room when quitting would feel easier. Willingness to build slowly when they wanted speed. Willingness to say no to temporary pleasure in order to protect long-term power. This willingness is rare, but it changes everything. Because the person who is willing to suffer a little now for a better life later eventually starts separating from the crowd. Not because they are better, but because they are deliberate. They are not being controlled by every feeling. They are not negotiating with every excuse. They are not letting boredom decide their future. They know that the life they want will require a price, and they accept it before they see the result. That is maturity. That is strength. That is how a person stops living like a passenger and starts living like the driver of their own life. If you want a different future, you must become a different decision maker. The future never changes because of good intentions alone. It changes because of repeated action. The first time you choose the harder thing, it feels uncomfortable. The second time, it still feels uncomfortable. But after enough repetition, it becomes identity. You stop being someone who occasionally tries. You become someone who can be counted on. That is a massive difference. A person who can be counted on by themselves is building a life that will not collapse at the first storm. And storms will come. The question is not whether life will challenge you. The question is whether you will be shaped or softened by the challenge. Look at the areas where your life feels heavy. Is it your health, your money, your work, your habits, your confidence, your relationships, your focus, your self-respect? In many cases, the pain is connected to repeated easy choices. Not always. Life can be unfair. People can be cruel. Timing can be difficult. Circumstances can be brutal. But even then, your response still matters. You may not control every problem that enters your life, but you do control whether you collapse into comfort or rise into action. And action is where your power returns. Action interrupts the cycle. Action creates evidence. Action reminds your mind that you are not helpless. It may be as small as waking up earlier. It may be as serious as ending a destructive habit. It may be as simple as cleaning your space, applying for the job, studying for the exam, saving the money, training your body, finishing the project, or telling the truth to yourself for the first time in a long time. Small actions are not small when they're breaking a pattern. The first step is rarely beautiful. It is usually messy, awkward, and imperfect. But that does not make it weak. It makes it real. The person who changes their life is usually the person who stays willing to look imperfect long enough to become powerful. Do not wait for confidence to rescue you from comfort. Confidence is built by choosing what you know is right even when it does not feel easy. The easy life often tempts you with a lie. You can have a reward without the repetition. You can have the body without the training. You can have the money without the discipline. You can have the respect without the work. You can have the peace without facing your habits. You can have the dream without the daily grind. But life does not usually work that way. There's a cost to every real thing. A cost in time, a cost in effort, a cost in patience, a cost in discomfort. And that cost is not an enemy. It is the bridge. The bridge between who you are now and who you know you can become. When people refuse that bridge, they keep living on the side of almost. Almost healthy, almost prepared, almost ready, almost happy, almost free, almost successful. Almost can become a painful way to live because it keeps hope alive while denying progress. That is why you must be honest with yourself. If you keep choosing what feels easy, you will keep becoming someone who avoids the very effort that would save your life. And saving your life does not always look dramatic. Sometimes it looks like self-control. Sometimes it looks like getting serious. Sometimes it looks like deleting the distraction, shutting the door, opening the book, starting the business, going to the gym, setting a boundary, or saying no to the pattern that keeps draining you. There is power in discipline because discipline creates trust. When you tell yourself you will do something and you do it, your mind begins to believe you. When you keep breaking promises to yourself, your mind stops trusting you. That is one of the deepest reasons people feel stuck. They no longer believe their own word. They have heard themselves say, tomorrow, later, soon, after this, next week when I feel better. And after enough empty promises, the mind quietly starts to give up. But every promise kept repairs that bond. Every small action that matches your word brings your confidence back from the dead. This is why the hard road matters so much. It teaches you to respect your own voice. It teaches you to stay loyal to your future. It teaches you that motivation is useful, but commitment is stronger. Motivation comes and goes. Commitment remains when feelings change, and feelings will change. Some mornings you will wake up hungry for success. Other mornings you will wake up tired, irritated, and tempted to drift. The person who wins is not the one who feels amazing every day. The person who wins is the one who keeps moving when the feeling is gone. That is not cold. That is not robotic. That is reliable. Reliability builds great lives. Anyone can be inspired for a few hours. If you can stay disciplined for a season. But seasons change people. A season of consistent effort can rewrite your whole identity. It can make the old excuses feel childish. It can make the old comfort patterns feel weak. It can make the future feel closer because you're finally doing the work that brings it closer. Maybe you're tired of hearing that your struggles are making you stronger. That phrase can sound hollow when your heart is heavy. So let us say it differently. Your struggle is not valuable because pain is noble. Your struggle is valuable because it forces you to confront what kind of person you are becoming. It reveals what matters. It exposes habits. It highlights weak spots. It demands change. Pain is not the goal. Growth is. And growth often arrives wearing the clothes of discomfort. That is why it matters to stay alert when life becomes hard. Hard times can either make you bitter or build you. Hard times can either push you deeper into escape or deeper into truth. Hard times can either teach you to run from yourself or teach you how to face yourself with courage. If the easy life has been your default, then this is your turning point. Not because you need to punish yourself, not because you need to be harsh, but because you need to stop betraying the future you keep dreaming about. The future does not need perfect people. It needs committed people. It needs people who can be trusted when life gets boring, hard, repetitive, and slow. It needs people who know how to work when nobody is watching. It needs people who can carry a vision longer than a mood. Some people are waiting for a sign. Some are waiting for a miracle. Some are waiting for a dramatic burst of confidence. But what they really need is a better relationship with discomfort. The moment discomfort stops being the enemy, your life changes. You start seeing challenge as evidence that you are growing, not evidence that you should quit. You start seeing effort as a pathway, not a burden. You start seeing discipline as an act of self-respect, not self-punishment. You stop asking, how can I make this easier, and start asking, how can I make myself stronger? That question changes everything. A strong life is built by a strong mind, and a strong mind is built by repeated choices. You choose truth over excuses. You choose effort over avoidance. You choose long-term peace over short-term pleasure. You choose to be the person who follows through. That is how confidence becomes real. That is how self-respect becomes real. That is how success becomes real. Not through dreaming alone, not through talking alone, through repetition, through patience, through quiet consistency, through days when you do what needs to be done even though no one is cheering. And one day, the life you once thought was far away starts showing up in front of you because you have become the kind of person who can finally hold it. Do not misunderstand this message. Refusing the easy life does not mean rejecting rest. It does not mean becoming miserable. It does not mean you never enjoy anything. Real strength is not a life of constant suffering. Real strength is a life where you choose purpose over temptation, discipline over drift, and growth over comfort when it matters most. You can rest. You should rest. But rest must serve your life, not replace it. There's a difference. Rest helps you recover so you can return stronger. The easy life uses rest as an excuse to never move. That difference is everything. Be kind to yourself, but do not become soft toward the habits that are keeping you small. Be patient with your progress, but do not become passive about your future. Be understanding of your failures, but do not turn failure into a personality. You are allowed to be human and still be serious. You are allowed to struggle and still be committed. You are allowed to feel fear and still move anyway. In fact, that is often where your real power begins. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision that your future matters more than your fear. That decision can change the direction of your entire life. There will be moments when the easy way looks smarter. It will promise relief. It will promise escape. It will promise a break from pressure. And sometimes you will be tired enough to want to believe it. That is when you need to remember what easy has already cost you. The missed opportunities, the broken promises, the stalled progress, the self-doubt that grew in the silence, the frustration of knowing you were capable of more but did not act like it. Let that memory make you honest, not ashamed. Honesty is powerful because it ends denial. Once denial is gone, change becomes possible. You cannot fix what you keep pretending is fine. You cannot grow while defending the habits that are shrinking your life. You cannot build confidence while constantly choosing the path that weakens you. At some point, every person has to draw a line and say enough. Enough drifting, enough delaying, enough waiting for life to get easier, enough living below my potential. That line is not anger. It is maturity. It is the moment a person stops negotiating with a version of themselves that keeps choosing comfort over destiny. And destiny, in the real world, is not magic. It is the outcome of repeated decisions. Choose well enough, long enough, and your life begins to change in ways you once thought were impossible. The body changes. The mind changes. The income changes. The habits change. The confidence changes. The environment changes because you changed first. That is the kind of transformation this message is pushing you toward. Not hype, not fantasy, real change, hard-earned change. Change that comes from saying, I will not waste another season on the habits that keep me small. I will not keep apologizing for wanting more. I will not keep choosing the easy exit when the harder road is the one that will actually carry me somewhere worth going. There's a quiet strength in people who refuse to quit on themselves. They may not look impressive in the beginning. They may be messy. They may be behind the scenes. They may be rebuilding after loss. They may be starting over after years of confusion. But they keep going. And because they keep going, they eventually become the person others admire. Not because they were never weak, but because they learned how to move through weakness. Not because they never doubted, but because they refused to let doubt become the boss. Not because they had an easy life, but because they stopped needing one. That is the spirit you need now. Not the spirit of constant comfort. The spirit of earned confidence. The spirit of honest effort. The spirit of steady growth. The spirit of someone who understands that the hard road is not trying to hurt them. It is trying to build them. When you begin to see life this way, the pressure changes. The same challenge that once made you feel small begins to make you stronger. The same routine that once felt annoying begins to feel valuable. The same discipline that once felt painful begins to feel like a gift. Because now you understand that every difficult choice is making you harder to break. Every uncomfortable step is making you harder to stop. Every honest decision is making you more trustworthy to yourself. And the trust you build with yourself becomes the foundation for everything else. So when the easy life calls, answer differently. Do not answer with fear. Do not answer with weakness. Do not answer with another delay. Answer with purpose. Answer with discipline. Answer with action. Let your life say that comfort will not control you. Let your habits say that your future matters. Let your choices say that you are done living under the level of your own potential. This is not about becoming perfect overnight. It is about becoming deliberate today. It is about choosing the path that gives you strength instead of the path that keeps you soft. It is about refusing the pattern that turns dreams into someday. It is about understanding that the things you want most are often guarded by the things you avoid most. And once you face that truth, you stop being afraid of hard work. You stop treating effort like an enemy. You start treating effort like proof that your life is moving again. That is when momentum begins to build. That is when confidence returns. That is when the future starts to feel real. And if you keep going long enough, you will look back and realize the easy life was never the blessing it pretended to be. It was the trap. The hard road was the gift. It taught you how to lead yourself. It taught you how to stay committed. It taught you how to keep your word. It taught you how to choose the life that lasts over the life that merely feels good for a moment. That is how strong people are made, not by avoiding discomfort, but by refusing to let comfort rule them. And once you understand that, everything changes.